Hi, it's Lay here. I'm here today to do two non-spoiler reviews of some YA books that I read recently. And the first one is going to be Glittering Court by Rochelle Mead. So I like this book. I gave this book 3 stars. I'm a huge Rochelle Mead fan. I have read the entire Vampire Academy series. I have read the entire Bloodline series. I read her book Solace. Did not read Game Board of the Gods just because I haven't heard the most positive things about it. So I went into this book really, really excited about it. And I swear I read somewhere that it was supposed to be about fairies, but that is not the case. This book really read to me a lot like the Selection series by Kara Cass. So I gave it 3 stars. The book follows this girl named Adelaide, which that's not really her name, but she is in this, older society, and she's being courted, and she has to get married to save her family. And in her house, they're having a lot of financial issues. So one of her maids is being offered to become one of the part of the Glittering Court, and there are these girls that get refined and basically go abroad and get married to rich men. But Adelaide takes it upon herself to impersonate this girl and become a part of the Glittering Court. So she goes there and she tries to find a wealthy man, and and it's just the whole process of all that stuff. But the book was very, very fast paced, but nothing in the book really like wowed me. It was super predictable at points, and the character that I was following just wasn't like super interesting, I don't think. I mean, I liked her. I thought she was interesting, but she was a little bit too predictable for me. And there was a lot of stuff like that just was like I kind of knew where the story was going, and none of the plot points really surprised me. The character development didn't really, wasn't amazing, and I didn't feel really emotionally invested to any of these characters. At least the ones that I was following. There's like 4 people you follow, but you really follow Adelaide the most, and that's the story that you see. But it really did remind me a lot of The Selection. But of course, it did have unique elements. But it was a very, very fast paced read, and I did enjoy it. It's just not like, it's like a buy or a borrow. I would definitely do a borrow for this book because unless you like really, really like it, I think you might be disappointed if you bought it. So I wound up renting it from my library, and that was perfectly fine, and I read it. And this book was, I don't know if people know this, but this book is technically a standalone, and it's like a companion series. So every girl that you meet will have a book. I think it's going to be 3 books because you meet 3 girls in the start. Um, their stories are crazy, crazy interesting. So I'm wondering if the next books in the series I will like more just because they follow characters that I was a little bit more invested in as the story went on. This story was just kind of like bland. It wasn't horrible, but it wasn't amazing. It was kind of like in the middle. So I'm hopeful that the other girl stories will change my opinion about this series. But as I said before, Rochelle Mead is a really good fantasy writer. So maybe just because it was missing that really didn't capture me as much as I would have wanted. So overall, I gave this book 3 stars, 3.5 stars maybe. I did enjoy it. It just didn't like wow me. And then the next book I'm gonna talk about is Paper Princess by Erin. So sorry. This book was the Book Hype Book Club pick of the month for April, and it is Erin Watt. She's the combination of 2 authors. I Elle Kennedy is one, and then another one. I don't remember her name, and Elle Kennedy writes a lot of like YA stuff. I mean, sorry, new adult stuff. But this book follows a girl named Ella, and she is currently stripping, and because her mom died of cancer, and she's trying to just simply pay the bills and be okay. And this guy comes to her school and says basically he's her legal guardian. He was the best friend of her father that she has never met, and he's here to take her to his house and have him live with him and his 5 sons. She is absolutely hesitant and decides that she doesn't want to do that. So she escapes school and she winds up going to the strip club to strip. And he winds up coming there. And end of the day, she winds up going with him. Now this book is one of those books that I would say is very, very dramatic. It has a lot of romantic entanglements, and especially of the step sibling relationship. And it's a very, very good girl, bad boy story, or misunderstood boy story. And it does have a lot, it just has a lot of romantic entanglements. And it does have a romance between Ella and one of the brothers. I will say that. And he is not my favorite character. I will admit that. He is kind of a jerk. And just a jackass. I do not like him. And I think that the romance between Ella and one of the boys really did affect my enjoyment of the story just because I was not feeling it. I did not like him. And right when I did like him, something happened to change my opinion of him. So it really was one of those stories where like I loved Ella. I love the character of Ella. I love how strong and determined she was. I love the world building. I love how fast the story went. But the romance between Ella and the brother really did affect my enjoyment just because he was a jerk. And I did not understand how she could fall for him. And I think that that was the major issue I had with this novel. I have no problem with good girl, bad boy stories. I think that sometimes they're really compelling. I think Katie McGarry is probably one of the best authors that I've ever read that has done that. But there's always something redeemable about a character. And we're just not there yet. Like, at the end of the book, I was so aggravated and so annoyed. And the next book in the stories is called The Broken Prince. Um, but so I'm intrigued to see if like after book 2 how I feel about that character. But right now he's a jerk and I do not like him. But there's also 5 other boys in the story, and the one that I really like is Easton, and you get to meet the other brothers, but Easton and Ella have a very, very interesting relationship that develops, and I do like them. And this book is a trilogy. But I'm very intrigued to see where the story goes. The next book comes out in July, which I will definitely be reading, and that's called The Broken Prince. But yeah, it was one of those books that like I enjoyed it, but I had a lot of anger and aggravation towards Reed or the guy in the story. So yeah, it was definitely like a very, very fast paced read. I think I read it in like 2-3 days. It was very, very fast paced, but there was a lot of romantic stuff that just like left me not as thrilled. So I give this book like 3.5 stars. It's only like $4.99 on your Kindle, so if you're interested, be sure to pick it up. And the second book comes out in July. Those are my thoughts on Paper Princess and Glittering Court. I'm gonna have spoiler reviews on my book like blogs that I'll put below. I did do mini reviews on my Goodreads page as well. You guys can go check that out. But thank you guys for listening. I hope you guys are having a great day.